So all those things that we're taught, um, and we go out and do it. We go out and try to do these things, and we try to find a little niche. We try to find a thing that makes us, that separates us from other agents so we stand out, and we get the business. But really, we go out there with no value. We don't lead with any value. You know, any real estate agent can send a marketing report. Have what's your home value. If you do that every month, it gets old, right? And so I feel like and this is a personal thing, and I know I get rambling on this, but I feel like the real estate world, NAR, the local associations want us to go out there and be the real estate professional, right? And the truth is, the barrier to entry to be a realtor is very low. I was just sharing with Trina and Sal last week. I just recently got a haircut, and I was talking with the barber. He's a licensed barber. He said he had to go to school for 10 months and pay $15,000 to get a barber's license. And I'm like, wow. We do here in Nevada. I'm in Las Vegas. So here in Nevada, we have to do 120 hours, and it's like a $300-$400 course, and is a couple $100 to get your license, $100 to take the test, and a couple. I mean, just the biggest expenses are dues, right? Our association dues. That's the biggest expense when you get started. But still, we're in it maybe $3,000 in a couple weeks, right? A barber, you go get a haircut, and aside from maybe Sal, you go get a haircut and they mess up your haircut and it grows back, and you're like, you're okay in a couple weeks, right? If you as a realtor get somebody into a house and it doesn't work for them, that is a huge expense. So I feel, and again, this is me personally, everybody, I feel the barrier to entry to get your real estate license is too low for them to expect us to be real estate professionals in comparison to a lawyer, a doctor, a dentist, a CPA, even an accountant, even a bookkeeper. You know what I'm saying? So we need to elevate ourselves to that professional level. So we need to bring more value. We need to be more than just used house salesmen. We need to be more than just transactional. Don't just go out there and sell a house and, hey, congratulations, let's take a picture, selfie, right? I'll keep in touch. I'll send you my newsletter that tells you how to do a charcuterie board next month, right?
Right.
So the estate planning, when I connected with Sal, the estate planning made all the sense in the world to me, because we're putting people in what could be the largest investment of their life, and then we're walking away. We should be helping them protect that investment. We should be providing other services that are related to that, and keeping in touch with them through those other services, bringing value to them all the time. I mean, if you go to Walmart and spend $20, the person at the checkout saying, thanks, have a great day. That's kind of what we do sometimes. A lot of realtors keep in touch. Well, but I mean, really at the end of the transaction, that's what we do. But we're walking people through hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of sales. So I believe we are obligated to do more. And that's where this estate planning comes in. And it's really not separate. It's really not far apart. Like Sal was saying, people think that it's far apart, but they're very close. They mesh very well. So
Perfect.
that's my two
I
cents.
completely agree, Lowell. And you know what? That's kind of how I met Sal, because when I did that Instagram video, I didn't really, the thought was never in my mind to be the one to help somebody with an estate plan. I was only being a realtor and referring it, to an attorney. And so now
Right.
that I have met Sal and his program, it's like a lifeline. It's like, this is something every realtor can talk to all of their buyers and sellers about, and the rest of their family. So this is that one thing that definitely will set each and every one of us apart, because nobody's talking about it. Nobody's doing it. Nobody's offering this service other than referring them to, an attorney.
We can all hang up now, folks. I think we've heard everything we need to hear. So,
Pamela Huey has a question. Or Pamela Hewley.
Good morning, everyone. I just wanted to add to the conversation. Yeah, this is why I got into it. I mainly focus on probate, but I do want to add some senior services and estate planning, transition that to my services, just because no one wants to talk about death and dying.
Yeah.
Um, and that is what the foundation of this is what happens when I die. And
Huh.
you really have to come to grips with your mortality.
Mhm.
That's a thing. And so I am a senior. I also helped a friend when her mother passed away and she had no will, no trust, and owned a house. And I just feel like this is something. I also have a background as a RN, and I felt like this is something I can help people. But it really is something you can stand out if you have like the right personality. You got to be empathetic, you got to care about people. You actually have to kind of like people too. You can't be driven to just make a sale. And with that low bar that you mentioned, Lowell, that's where a lot of people come in and want to just make a sale.
Agreed.
Pamela, that was fantastic. And I would say about the becoming aware, which is what we talked about last week. Awareness is the key. Making people become aware of what's going on in their life or what will take place. Once you get through that point of awareness, then you could come in and solve the problem, right? They will agree. Nobody here, I can't speak for everyone, but I've had like 5 surgeries, major, in 4 years. So I commonly talk about death. Or if I'm with people that are in their 70s or 80s, I mean, that's all we talk about. It's like, well, how many operations do you have coming up? Right. So, some of it is age related where the pressure is cooking, especially for those older clients, older people. The pressure is not cooking as much for the younger groups, although we talked about that last week too, why no one is really exempt from making sure an estate transfer is complete, efficient, and it's current. And it does need to be all three. There is a solution to solving this problem, this ubiquitous problem. Ubiquitous means massive, right? It's everywhere, right? Nobody's exempt. Even people who claim they have an estate plan, I'm all set. I already have an estate plan. I have a trust. The answer is no. And I know there's people listening in, like my buddy Charlie Gipple, who's here on the screen, who I'll introduce, in a bit, but unless he just said goodbye. But we already know that you need to solve problems and you also need to motivate people to take action. That's the key, right? So let's talk about the system, a turnkey estate planning system that we provide that's totally built out, that's ready for you to implement so that you could become that key differentiator in this real estate industry, right? Stand far above everyone else, raise your professional aptitude, provide what it is that these families do need, and while doing so, actually be able to put money in your pocket from the estate plan services itself. How does that sound? Would you like to go forward with that? So let's talk about that. First of all, what are some of the reasons to add estate planning services? Now, Lowell talked about some, right? But the first thing you need to know is that you will expand your reach. You will be able to obtain many more contacts, many more people to speak with, right? Business is done by having more what?
Conversations.
Conversation.
Conversations. Really? I don't care what the conversation is about. It could be about dog food. It could be about, we talked about it again last week. The more conversations you have, the more opportunities you will have to position yourself as an authority in a particular subject matter. Now, estate planning is not there in the real estate field totally yet. So estate planning is a growing and it's an essential niche market. right? It's like the most natural niche you can have, even if it's not working in the senior market itself. Differentiation is key. Clients want to know, are you here to just get a listing, or what else are you able to provide? Now, we know as realtors, you could speak about being an educator and a coordinator. And that's what we provide you with, is an opportunity to help guide families through comprehensive estate planning with access to trusted and experienced planners that enhance their experience and provide critical post-planning services. I'm going to just touch on those 2 points, right? Experiential, services. When people are getting together with someone, they don't want to be with someone that's dry. And I think going to see an attorney is essential as well. And there's many cases to be made when that is mandatory, that they see a law firm or an attorney, right? So we know, what that market looks like. But the most important part of an estate plan, or sitting to get it done with all the essential documents, right? The living trust, the will, you name it, the power of attorney documents. Most people would think that that's the most important part. I'm done. I made my payment. We got the plan in place. We all now know, especially if you're working with us, you will find out the most critical part is post planning. Those services are ongoing in nature. And guess what that does? When it's ongoing, you're ongoing in your communication and you're ongoing with them throughout their life. Here is the way, folks. Here is the way to continue legitimately to stay with that family and make sure that they're getting the work completed that they need to get completed regarding any changes in their life. New home, purchasing, selling, a new child, a new job, they're relocating. All of these trigger points are essential to making sure that their estate plan is kept up and it's kept current. So we plug you in. We keep you embedded in that family, not just for the point of sale, but far beyond that, into perpetuity, even. The AI-driven platforms, right? We know they're out there. Trust and Will, LegalZoom, this one, that one. These are AI platforms, and they're fine. If you want to get a will, you can go on there and do it. But an AI system cannot compete with experience. It cannot compete with a professional's that's able to forecast what happens to people down the road. And the one missing ingredient, and this is a very big one, it's missing the ability to motivate people to action, which is why when all of us buy leads, right? If you buy leads, right? Probate leads, especially in the probate market, you find out that you didn't really buy a lead. What did you buy? You bought a wish list, is what you bought, right? Because the failure to motivate them to actually do something is going to determine your success with that lead. So this is a very important point here, folks, controlling this relationship, something that the real estate industry has failed to do. Now, the financial industry is different, right? If you buy a life insurance policy or mutual funds or anything, any kind of a financial product, we don't have to worry about staying in touch with the client because it's done for us. Every year, every quarter, that client is going to get an update with my name on it. Contact me, and so on. So that's missing in the real estate business until now, because when you implement estate planning, it is now done for you with the ability and legitimacy to stay with them, not to just, hey, Lowell, you say it very well. You've said it in the past. Hey, it's been 6 months. Do you know anyone else who needs to buy or sell? Or the next time you know someone, here's my card, right? We've got to go beyond that. So the estate planning process naturally generates qualified real estate leads and opens doors and new income opportunities, as we said, beyond just a traditional transaction. It offers seamless and automatic pass-through referrals, right? Which provides us with lead opportunities for the entire family's property holdings.
So when you are meeting with families, either when they're buying or selling, of course you help them through that transaction. But as part of the conversation that you're having with them is showing them that you can also help them to protect that asset by offering your estate planning services. So once that person goes through your process of providing that, we also bring in the other family members, especially the ones who they name as the successor trustees. So then we will also offer services in helping the successor trustee understand their role and what's going to be required of them. And of course, offer the estate planning services to them as well, so that we continue on down the line through the family and help them, protect that legacy. And you essentially are really the family realtor.
This has been a missing component in estate planning in general, right? So somebody names a trustee, somebody names a successor trustee, and they go about their lives. And there's a death. Now the decedent's estate has to be unraveled, and everything is left up to the successor trustee to figure out their obligation and their responsibility. And folks, it's massive. You would not want to be the elected one. Don't raise your hand if somebody appoints you and to assume that responsibility, because the education needs to be provided to that successor trustee immediately. Why? Because, as Pamela said, stuff happens. I mean, anything can happen, and it doesn't need to be death, right? It could be an incapacitation. So we reach out to them. We make sure we're educating them, bringing them into the process, and allowing us to now determine, as Trina said, hey, you have a home. It's probably a smart thing for you to do too. And plus, you have children, right? So there's some guardianship here. So we do become trusted advisors within families, offering what we would say is concierge estate planning services that build relationships that last generations.
I was just commenting how Trina tied it all together. But what I did want to add um, is that I have this bright idea, and it hasn't been executed yet, that as a closing gift, I would like to offer my clients a trust.
Sure.
Not from me, but I have already had this conversation with an estate planning attorney,
Right.
that he would give me a professional discount, give my client,
Yep.
me the professional, but a discount to my client
Yep.
for their trust. That when they close, they get a gift card from me, or a
Yep.
gift, something that says
Yep.
here, and have that conversation. Because I'm looking at your logo. That's why I was like, I like that, how Trina just brought that. You really are the family realtor. Because when you have those conversations, you bring it to their attention. It's not like, if you do it then or do it before something happens or while you're doing something else, it makes more sense to them.
Of course.
And they
Absolutely.
don't feel like, oh my God, they're focused on grandma died or auntie died or cousin died or is going to die, or, fell and hit their head, that kind of thing.
So you read my mind 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So yes, we do exactly that. I'm gonna have
Oh, wow.
Trina's gonna share like her success story, when we get there. But yes, and we talked about this last week. The commission on a property could be, let's say, $20,000. Okay, let's just make it up. It's $20,000. Okay, on this $1 million home, right? Like, what would be the chances that this real estate agent may say, "Hey, here's a coupon of $500 to help you get this property to avoid probate, and and to take care. I love your children. It was great meeting them. I want to make sure that we're doing the right thing and that your assets have an exit strategy. So here's a coupon for $500 that's going to help you offset the price of getting this done." Now, in California, New York, Connecticut, estate plans are completed through law firms sometimes. The pricing is $5,000 plus. And they don't even provide that post-service work that I explained earlier. And I can't say on a blanket statement, but it's always a failure because every time we speak to families, they have outdated trusts, outdated information. So the answer to you, Pamela, is if you get involved with us, you will begin to learn that's exactly what you do. So
Great.
that was point 4. Point 5. We talked about this ad nauseum, educational role. Now, we need to be educators, folks. We could be statisticians as well, but we need to be educators, not attorneys. I am not an attorney. You may not be, you may be, but you may not be an attorney, but nor do you need to be attorney. And nor do you need to have any kind of a license just to help people do the right thing in life, really, right? I mean, doesn't it make sense to tell somebody, hey, it's probably a smart idea that, your property doesn't get hung up in the court and your family doesn't suffer with conflict? I mean, you don't need a license to tell anybody that, right? So understanding the risks of not having a plan, probate or government controlled estates, is because everybody does have that plan, right? That's the default plan. So if somebody says, I don't have an estate plan, sorry to tell you, you do, and you will not be happy with it. So how does this help? How can this help grow you and your business beyond only solely real estate? And it does because this angle, this planning angle, and that's what it is, it provides personal enrichment for yourselves, deeper knowledge and business growth that sets you apart from competitors. To get something you've never had, you must do things you've never done. The more you know about what it is you don't sell, the more you'll sell of what it is you do sell. And, I'm wearing this hat, this goat hat. You may think it's that I'm the greatest of all time. No, I'm not. But what this hat really represents is this: having this knowledge is great. God bless those who give advice. But God bless those thousands of times more, the person that takes that advice and uses it. Everybody wants to be unique. You need to be different. I need to be different. I'm doing this to be different. Now, Affinity Wealth is my personal company. We're an estate planning service company. We don't draft documents, nor do we need to. And we're here to provide this education exclusively to the real estate professionals. Yes, I can bombard myself with a million insurance agents, but I have a longing and a real love for making sure that there's an impact made in this industry. So this exclusivity provides you training, coaching, and all the tools you need to expand your services and your income streams, because you will get paid very nicely when an estate plan gets completed. And you will get paid on top of that when you are able to tell another comrade in the business, hey, you should be doing this too. And you'll get some override on their business, on their clients' plans. So we do have a compensation plan, as I just mentioned. You'll add additional streams of income through not just the estate plan itself when it's completed, but also through the estate plan referrals. Because when we're speaking to Mr. and Mrs. Jones, we tell Mr. and Mrs. Jones, your daughter, Betsy, is your trustee and also successor trustee. She needs to have an education immediately and knowledge of the fact that you've done this, so she's well prepared. Wouldn't you agree? Oh, yes, definitely agree. So in that case, would you mind, or how would you feel if we reached out to her and supplied her with content documents that we could just have a moment with her and go through what her role should be? We provide the following videos. There's 3 different, call them membership or enrollment, places where you could be with us, from left to right. But you could take a look on the left side. These are all videos that you could share to open conversations, put them in an email, send them out on a social post.
Pamela has a question real quick.
Go ahead, Pamela.
Okay, yeah. So my question was about a couple of slides back. those, and by the way, those videos, that's what I put on my goal list for 2025 was to start making videos mainly about probate. As I said, I focus more on probate.
Right.
I add those services. I like what you're doing, Sal. Um, I think that's great. So the let's see, where is it? Oh, can you go to number seven, the your unique system? Yeah, can you tell me? Okay, so is really your company like a coaching company? I'm just trying to understand because I have a lot of ideas in my head about what I want to do, and I think that what you're doing does align with what's in my head and what
Great.
I've
Great.
written down.
Yeah,
But I do
we're like-minded.
hear
Yep.
more hear more about so you provide training and coaching to realtors um, for them to grow an estate planning business is what I'm hearing. Is
Correct.
that correct?
That is correct, but we also back it up with the product because you do need to have a turnkey system in place that allows that client to get their estate plan completed. So,
Oh, okay. So
so
you
yes, coaching is
that's
part
where
of it,
your
right?
partnership is with somebody else or a third party
Correct.
that will get that done for them.
Correct.
Ah, okay.
And so they're responsible ultimately for the drafting of the documents, for the deed retitling, for the, in some
All the
cases,
things that
deed
go into
filing.
funding it and
Yes.
all
And
that.
then we're responsible to help them with their assets because their assets may or may not need to be retitled and reowned. So they're owned by the trust. So they're in that little bucket or in their goodie bag, as I like to say. Because
Hmm.
if those assets are outside of that little goodie bag, that trust, it's going to
Okay.
flow through probate, right?
Yeah.
So isn't the important part is identification of assets? It's critical. It's known as a Schedule A in the trust. So
Hmm.
we must receive all that information. And then we are partnered together, you, just like we are now, with the client and myself, without the hat on and without these things on. Uh-huh. And now we're sharing how the questions, how they need to start developing their estate plan. This is not just simple templated stuff. Some of it may
Hmm.
be, but sometimes families have unique,
Oh,
questions and
absolutely.
considerations. And so, like one question is like, what can I name my trust? Can I name it the ABCD trust? And the answer is yes. Most people don't know you can name a trust really whatever you like. Now,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes families like that because they want privacy. So they don't want the Pamela, living revocable trust because it's going to show up on some records, right? So these are a lot of nuances here that only experienced people can help them with, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
So we've already thought out of all the videos that you need, Pamela. You don't have to knock yourself out. They're already here. We have them all. We probably have more than these. So depending on the level you come in at, depends on how many you'll have access to. Okay. Um, but here's really where the goodie bag is, and we have 20 minutes left until some people have a hard stop. But we provide all of the pieces on the left. And I think one of the most exciting pieces is something that I've worked on for about 10 years, and that is digital asset protection and making sure that someone is notified exactly when something happens. So whenever there's a triggering event, that beneficiary will be notified, hey, Pamela has information. Here's how you need to access it. So that's a whole different conversation on that education. But this is what we have put together, and it's a wonderful thing. So that wraps up this formal presentation. As you can see, you see Lowell Carroll as a program director. He really is helping move this forward in many ways. And Trina has some great marketing story to share with you. So,
So when um I wanted to be in the probate niche, so I wanted to have clients to refer over to them so that I could start to build a relationship. So I created an Instagram reel.
now, of course, at this time, I didn't know who Trina Harris is.
Yes, we
No,
had not met.
right.
So I just figured I would do this video and be able to refer clients to a local attorney here who could help them with their probate.
Are you showing Myron?
Yeah, he's on my timeline. I love Myron
Love him.
Golden.
Yes, I love him too.
Yeah. So this video got me 4 million views.
Be a homeowner?
Wow.
Trust. A lender might warn you that they may call the note due if you put the home in a trust, but here's the truth. They can't. The Garn St. Germain Act protects you from that. Why is a living trust important? Well, it's simple. It bypasses probate. Probate is the legal nightmare. Train your estate with fees and delays. Without a trust, your home could face government claims. You know, Uncle Sam always gets first dibs. Creditors are next in line. And of course, lawyers take a hefty bite also, further shrinking your estate. And even if you have a will, yeah, you still have to go through probate. A living trust cuts through the red tape so that when you're gone, your home seamlessly passes to your chosen beneficiaries. No probate, no delays, just peace of mind. Don't risk losing your home after all your hard work. Comment the word trust if you need a referral to an estate planning attorney. Share this with someone you love.
So that video, like I said, it was 4 million views, hundreds or thousands of comments. I had over 100 people book appointments with me, and I quickly became overwhelmed because I thought it was just going to be close to me here in, Southern California. But when I got people from Florida and North Carolina, South Carolina, Maryland, Georgia, it was crazy. And this really is how I met Sal because I didn't know how to manage all of these people. Now, all of a sudden, I had to be responsible to make sure that they did have somebody to speak with. So when I met Sal and he told me about his program and the network of attorneys all across all 50 states, that was really the answer for me. So, Sal and I got together, we came up with a plan and put things together. We had, all of these appointments with everyone. And I still have over 400 people in my database that I'm still reaching out to because this is social media and you have to keep in mind. So we were talking about becoming the family realtor. Well, all of these people for me are cold leads. So now, they're in my database. Reach out to them. I was going to say hit them up. I reach out to them, every month. I have their names, their emails, and phone numbers. So I have all the information that I need to stay in touch with these good people. And even though all of them, or not all of them, a lot of them were not ready at the time that we had our initial conversation, everybody really expressed that this is something that they know that they need to do. And they just wanted to know, how do I go about doing it? What are my first steps? They just wanted that basic information. So we set up just a 15-minute informational call with a lot of these folks. So they're still reaching out to me. Every now and then I'll get, message, hey, we're getting ready. We haven't forgot. We want, we still want to move forward with our plan. So this video helped me to, propel that agenda. And it's crazy because 4 million people don't talk about it, but they know that they need it. My mind was blown. I was just like, wow,
Congratulations. That's wonderful.
thank you.
I think I saw your video too. I didn't realize that was you,
Mhm.
but I think I saw that video, and that might have been part of my inspirations. Oh yeah, I need to make videos because that's perfect.
Yeah.
Um, the Oh, I was gonna say, one of my taglines is "I'm your realtor for life's moments," and I think that's how I got connected to Saul because when he talks about the triggering event, that resonates with me. Because I'd like to say, and it's true, I'm a big picture thinker. I like to think of all the aspects, not just one little piece. So I like that. I'm so glad I came to this meeting today.
Awesome.
Uh, but
Uh, so,
Saul, you
so Pam, I'm going to comment on that. I mentioned it earlier, probably got by you. And I said this last week. When I am dealing with someone and the subject is life insurance, or the subject is income, or Social Security, or long-term care, or whatever risk management and wealth accumulation product we may need to be talking about. I've got to design this entire complex world around me just so that I could get to that one little lane. But I have to tell you, it's the exact opposite with estate planning. The entire lane opens up. It's like a wide avenue. And the conversations are natural in progression because when we start talking about their assets, which we have to, and they tell me what they're for and why it's in that account and what the purpose may be, then they start saying, hey, honey, we always thought about that, if I'm going to be protected, if something, blah, blah, blah. The next thing you know, I'm turning my cap around, but I'm fortunate that I can do that here. And I'm not here to take the real estate business. Let me bring that up. If you have a client and you're going to learn all of their properties, you are going to own and control the conversation beyond any other agent will. They, of course, are going to look at you as that trusted professional, that advocate, and that family realtor. But when the time comes, which could be instantaneous, where they'll say, we're actually thinking of selling this property as we speak, and that's what caused us to, think about this. That's not mine. I don't want the real estate business, right? That's your business. And so you may find you're doing business with someone, and I said it last week, in Iowa, right, Charlie? Because that's where you are. And so when that happens and that family from Iowa needs help, you have the luxury here, at least with this brokerage, to team up with an Iowa real estate professional and get compensated on a referral fee, right? I'm not making it up, right? So everything is really covered here. Trina, we spoke to, you could tell everybody, over 100, between 100 and 150 people in a very short period of time. We were booked months out in conversation, and they all said the same thing. I need to get this done. Here's why. Here's my child. This is the situation. And we would book them right then and there, 2 weeks out or a week out or 3 weeks, but no more than that, because, you can't let too much time go. So the opportunity here is just like beyond what you can imagine, Charlie. Now, any final comments from Lowell, our program director, who always has great insight, before I start working on the conversation about assets and how is the family taken care of beyond just an estate plan? These families have these estate plans. They put them in place. They get their trust. They put their assets in it, right? They're not going to do it on their own. They need us. They need you to make sure that there's a continuum happening so that they're alerted, hey, you still didn't do this with this trust, with this deed. We need to make sure it gets done. That's post-plan servicing. That's why they're paying us, right? Otherwise, they can get a trust for, I don't know, $9.99, right? But they have nothing else, right? Okay. So during the process, the subject will come up. I bring it up. It's like, hey, you're doing this trust for what purpose? Well, we're doing it because we want to make sure that money will continue for that legacy play, right, to our children, to the next generation. And it's just common sense that, well, that may not happen. And why may it not happen? It may not happen because they will what? Run out of money. And they will run out of money for various reasons. I'm not going to go into that. But if you're paying good money for a good plan, don't you want to make sure that your trust has money left to pass? Or you don't? Because if you don't, you just wasted your money. There must be a trust sustainment package included. And that's the work that we do. We model what their income is going to be. We look at how long that may last, and then we maximize that. And there's no one better at doing that. And I partner with the best in the industry, Charlie Gipple, who I met a decade ago or so. We're
Longer than that now.
We're
Longer than
old-timers.
that now.
So Charlie, CFP certified financial planner, CLU, ChFc, and an activist in the industry, which is what I really love, because people say, am I an advocate or an activist? And I think I'm both. So when I do whatever work and, we provide the client with what they need, I go to Charlie, and his office is the one that really helps with the developmentation of it. Charlie, you've got whatever time you want to talk about estate planning, what we do for clients. And really, people have asked me, Sal, we love you. We believe you. I trust you. I get text from them, but I'm not going to be here forever.
Yep.
Who is going to take my place? Or how is that going to be done? And I know that Lowell and Trina, we've kind of talked about this a little because it's important when that subject does come up. Go ahead, Charlie, introduce yourself.
Yeah, well, nice to meet all of you. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on what part of the country you're in. I look forward to possibly meeting you all someday, or if nothing else, talking on the phone. You're dealing with the best of the best with Mr. Sal. It's definitely been longer than 10 years, Sal. I had hair back then, and Lowell, I haven't had a haircut in probably, 10, 15 years or so. So I save money there. Yeah, so I've been doing the financial stuff for 25 years, basically my entire career here. I'm 47, so to Sal's point, from a succession standpoint, I'm going to be around for a while. I'm a contributor for various financial magazines, the Wall Street Journal. I'll put some stuff in there every once in a while, and have about 400 different advisors across the country that where I kind of train the trainer, so to speak, but none is as top tier, so to speak, as Sal. So congratulations on being, congratulations on being working with them. I kind of view you guys and gals as kind of running a parallel path to financial advisors, right? And I will say this, that I, to the financial advisors, are speaking the language that Sal is to you. As in, believe it or not, Sal, maybe you have a better statistic than I do. I would say only about 20 or 30% of financial advisors understand what a pour over will is. What does a revocable trust do? What does a living trust do? What does a durable power of attorney? And people are dumbfounded by this. A financial advisor does not know this stuff. But I've been preaching this stuff, and what advisors are finding is exactly what Sal is saying. There's a statistic that goes something like this. If I'm an advisor and working with, say, Trina's money, Trina, I don't know if you're married or not, but let's say that you were. And if I had the relationship with Trina, and if she passed away, but I never knew her spouse, her husband never knew me. Where does all of that money go once that husband gets Trina's money? Not to me. It leaves my management and it goes to Edward Jones or somebody else. But by this trust situation here, you have all of the assets. You have all of the control. You are the center of their entire asset pick, not just money picture with you guys. It's real estate as well. So it's a very parallel conversation that I have on a daily basis with my advisors that is taking place right here with you guys and gals. But long story short, I've been doing this for 25 years. I am a fiduciary. I'm a CFP, and I have about 400 different advisors across the country. If you ever want to check out any of my videos, just go to YouTube. I think I probably have a few hundred out there, and you could see the method to the madness. So glad to be a part of the group.
Yeah, and it's an important role that you play here, right? Because I get panic stricken by this, because this opportunity is well beyond my capabilities. I cannot handle it all. And Trina, I think you know where I'm going with this. We have hundreds of people to get back with, hundreds. We haven't even really touched the tip of the iceberg on this here. And, I'm one person, right? And so how many of these can I do, right? A day. This is what I'm thinking about. And, how many of these, Charlie, we need help. So
you have a great problem there. That's for sure.
Oh, it's a great problem. And I think, I know she's not here. Pamela has thought about these things, but I've thought about them 10 years ago. This is not just something that took place 6 months ago. This production has been in development for a decade in various ways.
Trina, do you know how many Americans there are in this country? Do you know what the number is? Around 340 million Americans. Think of that.
Wow.
1 out of every 100 Americans have seen her. 1% of the entire American population. So that's cool.
That's crazy.
Hey, and Sal, I have a hard break. I got to run to my next meeting. I just wanted to say hi to everybody, and I look forward to talking
Nice
with you.
meeting you,
Thank you,
Charlie.
Charlie, for being here.
Thank you.